Now a look at what stories are making the headlines this Saturday night with the ITV News.
Team GB strikes yet more gold in Tokyo. There are stunning victories in the boxing and the modern pentathlon, silver in cycling and bronze on the track and in the diving pool. Also tonight, claims not denied by Downing Street that Boris Johnson threatened to sack his Chancellor. Fleeing the flames in Greece, holidaymakers are rescued from the beach as wildfires spread. Heartbreak for the Lions as South Africa clinch a series victory. And a new snap of Princess Charlotte to get us all counting butterflies.
This is ITV News with Geraint, Vincent.
Good evening. Britain can boast of 2 more Olympic champions at the end of the penultimate day of competition in Japan. Galal Yafai took flyweight boxing gold and Joe Chung became the first British man ever to win the modern pentathlon. There were cycling silvers for Matt Walls and Ethan Hayter, and Tom Daley added a bronze to the diving gold he won last week. And Josh Kerr also won a bronze in the men's 1500 metres. Our sports editor, Steve Scott, has all the action from Tokyo.
But the little right. It's rare in Olympic boxing to see a fighter flawed, but Britain's Galal Yafai's thrilling early assault was an indication of what was to come. A dominant display from the first to last bell. Yes! Secured Team GB's 19th gold of the Games, boxing's first, and got the morning off to a perfect start. He told me later, fighting with his brothers as a youngster helped make him the champion he became today.
If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be boxing. They walked into the gym and I followed a few years later, punching each other in the sitting room, my mum pulling her hair out, going crazy when I'm crying back to her, which all put me in good stead for this position I'm in now, and yeah, I can only thank them.
Modern pentathlon was devised as a sport to reflect the skills a soldier might need behind enemy lines. Coincidentally, Joseph Chung drew the same horse GB's gold medalist Kate French had ridden yesterday. After swimming, fencing and then the show jumping, the laser run came last. Chung pacing himself to perfection to become the first British man to win Olympic gold.
There is the new Olympic champion for Great Britain, Joseph Chung.
Big race this.
In the chaos that is cycling's Madison, Ethan Hayter and Matt Walls ran the favourites Denmark very close. On points, they actually tied with France for second place, but were awarded silver because they won the last sprint of the day, the final race within a race. It was a second medal for Walls this week after his gold in the Omnium.
Yes, get in!
Putting on a near faultless display, Tom Daley led a thrilling 10-metre platform final until the halfway stage. He was eventually overtaken by 2 Chinese divers and finished with a bronze. His second medal here and his 4th since his Games debut in Beijing as a 14-year-old. He says his success this time around has been helped by having a husband and being a father to his young son.
My husband and my son in my life, my family is the most important thing in the world, and feeling loved and supported allows me to go into competition not worrying about how I'm going to do and the outcome of things, because I know they're going to love me regardless. And when you feel like that, it takes so much pressure off and you can actually just enjoy it. So yeah, I feel very grateful to them.
The athletics team notched up another podium place on the track tonight. Josh Kerr ran a superb 1500 metres race, nearly passing world champion Timothy Chariot on the line. It is Kerr's first major medal and Britain's first at this distance at an Olympics since Seoul in 1988.
The Games draw to a close tomorrow, but there are still chances of medals in boxing and cycling. One of those chances falls to Laura Kenny, and any place on the podium for her will mean she will have won more medals than any other female Olympian in British history. Not a bad way for Team GB to sign off. Steve Scott, ITV News, Tokyo.
Now, the Russian Olympic Committee team also did well today, which means that Team GB are now in 5th place with 20 golds, 21 silver and 22 bronze. That's 63 medals in total. Here, there are somewhat extraordinary claims tonight, not denied by Downing Street, that Boris Johnson may have threatened to sack his Chancellor. Our political correspondent, Carl Dinnan, is here. Carl, you've been looking into this. What more can you tell us?
Well, the claim in what, as you say, is quite a remarkable Sunday Times scoop is that on Monday morning, in front of a room full of people, the Prime Minister openly considered sacking the Chancellor. Mr Johnson was apparently apoplectic with rage over a formal letter written to him by Rishi Sunak, which was then leaked to the media. It was about travel restrictions, COVID travel restrictions being too tight. And the Prime Minister allegedly said, I've been thinking about it. Maybe it's time we looked at Rishi as the next Secretary of State for Health. He could potentially do a very good job there. Now, no one's denying that this happened. Downing Street are only saying that they never comment on private conversations. But at the same time, I think there is a sense that it was something that was said off the cuff, more in jest than with genuine, serious intent. However, the fact that it was said at all and was then leaked is a sign that there may be a degree of strain creeping into the relationship, as there often is between Prime Minister and Chancellor. Although, for what it's worth, I think if the Prime Minister did genuinely want to move the Chancellor, it would be quite politically difficult for him, because just at the moment, the Chancellor is considerably more popular than he is.
OK, Carl, many thanks. Most of the strict COVID regulations were scrapped in Wales today. That means there's now no limit on the number of people who can meet indoors. Nightclubs have reopened and social distancing scrapped. But face masks will still have to be worn in shops and on public transport. The UK is sending a team of firefighters to Greece to help battle the wildfires raging across the country. Ferries rescued hundreds of people who had fled to the beach on the holiday island of Evia. And as our correspondent Ben Chapman reports from Greece, homes and livelihoods are being lost to the flames.
To be stuck on a beach, surrounded by fire on all sides. It was a waking nightmare from which the sea was the only salvation. Hundreds of residents of Evia Island watched from their rescue boat as the homes they'd left behind began to burn. Tackling Greece's wildfires has been made even harder by strong winds spreading the flames at speed. Amid the smoke, we filmed explosions in a village on the outskirts of Athens. The distress of those forced to leave their homes, surpassed only by those returning to the devastation the flames left behind. We left with a heavy heart, this man says. Now we are back, it is even worse.
There is a fine line between those areas which survived the flames and those which sadly did not. This house was completely destroyed, just the wrong side of this line, and here today there is still the stench of burning in the air and ash falling down.
Around 1,000 volunteers from the Hellenic Red Cross are collecting donations of food, water and medicines for firefighters on the front line. But its president told me they're also comforting those who've lost their homes.
The situation is very, very difficult. It's something unique. We never have seen such a catastrophe.
21 British firefighters will now travel here to support their Greek colleagues. A volunteer firefighter is one of 2 people who've now been killed here. The cost of these wildfires now being measured in lives as well as livelihoods. Ben Chapman, ITV News, Athens.
Sport now, and in rugby union, the British and Irish Lions tour of South Africa has ended in disappointment after they lost the third and final test in Cape Town. The Lions led at half-time and it was agonisingly close at the end. But as Stuart Silvers reports, the Springboks did just enough.
Trapped in the gilded cage of Cape Town by the pandemic and played out in front of empty stands, this has been a Lions tour like no other. So maybe they could improve their poor record in series deciders. In the first half, the forwards set about trying to put things right.
It's the try! Keno is right in there.
But 10-6 was a slender half-time advantage against a South African side who came back strongly a week ago. And sure enough, they put the best move of the match together 15 minutes after the break.
Colby goes on. Oh, he's in the series now.
Nothing could split the sides until history repeated itself. Morna Steyn kicked a late series winner on the last tour back in 2009. The oldest man on the pitch has now done the same in 2021.
And we'll say that again.
19 points to 16, world champions, now tamers of the Lions. This South African side have nothing left to conquer. Stuart Silvers, ITV News.
Football, and the first piece of silverware of the new season has been won this afternoon by Leicester City. Jack Grealish, the most expensive British player in history, came on as a substitute for Manchester City in the Community Shield, but he couldn't create any real chances. The game was decided with a penalty. Sam Holder has the story.
At the 99th Community Shield, the debut of the £100 million man. Manchester City's new signing Jack Grealish would have to wait for his first minutes, starting on the subs bench. On the pitch, it was Leicester finding their rhythm. The focus may have been on new signings, but it was a veteran, Jamie Vardy, who came closest, hitting the post. After the break, Riyad Mahrez, who signed for just £60 million in 2018, wasted this glorious chance. With just under half an hour to go, the moment Man City fans had been waiting for. The most expensive British player of all time. Jack Grealish's style already catching on. There were glimpses of his talent, a few slick passes, but late on, Manchester City's Nathan Ake gave away a penalty. And it was a former City player who stepped up to take it. Kelechi Iheanacho staying calm and winning the game. Despite City's big summer signing,
well, they look already in nice shape.
It was Leicester who was celebrating. Sam Holder, ITV News.
Ant McPartlin, one half of the TV duo Ant and Dec, got a new partner today. He tied the knot with Anne-Marie Corbett at a village church in Hampshire, and it was sealed with a kiss, of course, in front of a congregation full of celebrity guests, including his TV partner Declan Donnelly, Philip Schofield, and TV presenters Patrick Keelty and Kat Deely, the comedian David Walliams, and the singer Alicia Dixon. And just before we go, take a look at this lovely snap. Princess Charlotte's getting up close to nature. Her mum took the picture close to the family home in Norfolk. It shows the 6-year-old cradling a butterfly, part of the Big Butterfly Count, which aims to measure the health of our natural environment. And that is all for tonight. The weather is next, but from me and all of the weekend team, good night.